The lawmakers are finally taking action, with many states sitting on huge budget surpluses, and several have even put forward plans to provide some direct relief to the residents. And the lawmakers do expect the residents to receive extra relief that's worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And this money could arrive in either the form of a bonus rebate check or tax credits. And folks, I want to say thank you for all your support, thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for subscribing to the channel. As a way for me to show my appreciation, I like to give you guys a free $60 Amazon gift card. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel and enter the code right here on your screen. Enter the code when you're about to check out on Amazon.com. It's a free $60 Amazon gift card. And everybody, thank you so much for watching my channel, and thank you for your support. Now, state governments emerging from the crisis have built historic cash surpluses, as inflation and prices and wages drove up sales and even income tax collections. Now, many states are reaping another reward. They are banking millions of dollars off those surpluses, as the Federal Reserve just fights inflation with higher interest rates. States ranging from Democratic-led Massachusetts to Republican-led Texas, as well as a politically divided Minnesota, are all sitting on large surpluses that are swelling even further thanks to favorable interest rates on investments. And even as legislatures prepare for the 2023 sessions, governors and lawmakers are proposing and urging to tap into these surpluses just to cover tax cuts and greater spending on priorities like infrastructure and education. Though most states can't even afford it, financial experts are nonetheless urging caution because of concerns that the U.S. could slip into a recession. And by the way, everybody, as the legislature prepares for the 2023 sessions, governors and lawmakers are proposing to tap into these surpluses to cover tax cuts and greater spending on priorities like infrastructure and education, though most states cannot afford it. The financial experts are nonetheless urging cautions about this, after projecting an unprecedented $97 billion surplus in California just 7 months ago. State officials are forecasting a roughly $25 billion deficit in the next budget. California imposes higher taxes on the wealthy, and now they are lending to pendulum-type swings in tax revenues as the stock market just rises and falls. State tax revenues surged well beyond expectations after back-to-back years of double-digit percentage growth in revenues. States ended their 2022 fiscal years with a record cash because of nearly $343 billion in the reserves. But right now, folks, several states across the country are considering just a new way to help the low income financially. Unfortunately, Hawaii is not one of those states. It has been confirmed that Hawaiian lawmakers have dropped board tax relief proposals. And according to state officials, a few tax credit programs could be benefiting the low-income households and were advanced by negotiators in the state, in the House of Representatives and the Senate. And large, broad-payer tax relief programs by the governors were also dropped. The Hawaii taxpayers can expect less generous tax relief than proposed earlier this year, under a bill proposed and positioned for final votes next week at the legislature. The agreed-upon tax relief was influenced by a number of people. First of all, the plan would eliminate a retirement tax of 4.24% and expand a match of the federal earned income tax credit, which is aimed at low and middle income families. As Joe Biden begins his re-election campaign, his job approval rating among the U.S. public has slipped to 37%, the lowest ever for Joe. And Biden's approval rating has been in the low 40s% for most of his time. And the latest poll finds just that 83% of Democrats say they approve of his job. Do you approve of Joe Biden, everybody? Tell me in the comments.
Well, Madam President, first, let me thank all of my colleagues for their kind words during my time isolating due to COVID last week. As you can see, I've made a full recovery after experiencing only mild symptoms, thank God. COVID has done incalculable damage to scores of American families. But because I was fortunate enough to be vaccinated and double boosted.
So as a general rule, to receive Social Security payments in retirement, a recipient must have worked and paid into Social Security systems for at least 10 years. If you choose to start receiving payments at the earliest allowable age of 62, your maximum possible payment is around $2,300 per month, and the maximum increase is around $3,300 at age 66 and 4 months. At age 70, you can receive the maximum amount of benefits, which is $4,100. Now, designed as a supplement to pension and retirement savings, Social Security currently replaces about 40% of the average American's retirement income. 4 in 10 Americans have the monthly payment as their only source of income in retirement. And according to advocacy groups, seniors are struggling financially due to the crisis, and this has led many people to push Congress for even more stimulus checks. Folks, President Biden just released a shocking announcement in regards to rising inflation. So hopefully we can now get a stimulus check for this. The administration has confirmed that they are now canceling billions of dollars in loan debt for many Americans. Not only that, but listen to this. President Biden said today that there is little he can do to lower the cost of gas or food in the immediate term, an acknowledgement that prices for those goods will actually remain high as he works to bring down other costs incurred by families. During an event on food shortages, President Biden told reporters, "There's a lot going on right now, but the idea is we're going to be able to click a switch, bring down the cost of gas, and the same thing for food." But President Biden and his team are seeking to place a heavy emphasis on the economy in the coming weeks, as the president looks to demonstrate his commitment to reining in inflation, even as he says there's nothing much he can do. The president has tasked his aides with improving the administration's messaging as he watches approval ratings sink. President Biden's plan is centered on allowing the federal policy, the Federal Reserve, the necessary independence to combat inflation through monetary policy. Biden conceded, though, that there was little he could do alone to bring down the highest profile cost spikes. We can't take immediate action that I'm aware of yet to figure out how we're bringing down the prices of gas down to $3 a gallon, and we can't do that immediately with regard to food prices either. Many Americans have criticized the Biden administration for not doing enough to address rising inflation and the food shortages. President Biden said we got millions of tons of wheat that is not able to get out of hand, that is not able to get out and get to the market. It's causing everything from a loaf of bread to cost so much money to food shortages across the world. We're trying to work through how we can get harbors opened and get the tens of thousands of grain that are there. President Biden said instead of direct action to bring down gas or food prices, he was looking to ease financial burdens in other areas, like prescriptions and childcare. When asked about this plan, Biden stated, "We can compensate by providing for other necessary costs for families by bringing those down. That reduces the inflation for the family." Another big announcement was made today. The Department of Education announced that it will cancel $5.8 billion in student loan debt for 560,000 borrowers who attended the now defunct network of for-profit schools, known as Corinthian colleges, and the cancellation amounts to the largest one-time debt forgiveness ever made by the Department of Education. Today's announcement is the latest and biggest action taken by the Biden administration to cancel federal student loan debt for borrowers.
To serve as a circuit judge on the very, very important D.C. Circuit. Very soon, the Senate must also take swift action to pass the PACT Act for a second time in order to correct a technical error that arose in the House. This legislation will be the most important health care reform bill that our veterans have seen in years, and there's absolutely no justification, none whatsoever, to delay swift passage of this bill. And most importantly, the United States Senate must finish work on one of the most urgent priorities facing this chamber, addressing the chip shortage that is hurting American consumers, decimating our supply chains, and endangering our national